Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Amma ba'du, fa'uzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Qala Allah ta'ala fil Quranil Hakim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. وَإِذْ بَوَّأْنَا لِإِبْرَاهِيمَ مَكَانَ الْبَيْتِ أَلَّا تُشْرِكْ بِي شَيْئًا وَطَهِّرْ بَيْتِيَ لِلطَّائِفِينَ وَالْقَائِمِينَ وَالرُّكَّعِ السُّجُودِ. قال الله تعالى في القرآن الحكيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الصفا والمروة من شعائر الله فمن حج البيت واعتمر فلا جناح عليه أن يطوف بهما ومن تطوع خيرا فإن الله شاكر عليم. صدق الله العظيم. The verses which I've recited translate as follows. The first one is, and when we pointed to Abraham the place of the house of Allah, saying to him, do not set up any partner with me and purify my house for those who make circuits, those who do Tawaf, and who stand to pray and bow and prostrate. Chapter 22, verse 26. And the second verse translates as follows. The Safa and the Marwah are truly among the signs of Allah. So whoever makes a pilgrimage to the house or pays a visit to it, that is to say Umrah, there is no blame on him if he goes around them. And whoever does good spontaneously, surely Allah is bountiful in rewarding, and He is the knowing. That's chapter 2, verse 158. These verses relate to the performance of some of the ceremonies of the pilgrimage to Mecca, which this year took place at the end of June. The first verse mentions the making of circuits around the Kaaba. It contains commands addressed to Ibrahim alayhi salam, which are also meant for the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is well known that going around the Kaaba or Tawaf is done as a part of the pilgrimage and also as a part of the minor pilgrimage known as Umrah. The second verse which I recited refers to the act of the pilgrim going briskly between the two small hills near the Kaaba, the two hills known as the Safa and the Marwah. Although this act is called Sa'i, but the word Tawaf is used for it as well in this verse of the Holy Quran and also in Hadith. Thinking about the act of making circuits around the Kaaba, we may reflect that in the universe around us, everywhere we see this kind of motion where a small object or body goes round a large object or body. The earth is going around the sun, taking 1 year to go around once. The moon is going around the earth, taking just over 27 days to go around the earth once. You are surprised to hear 27 days. It looks to us from the earth as if the moon takes between 29 and 30 days to go around the earth once. But to us it looks like 29 or 30 days because we ourselves on earth are moving around the sun and our position is changing. As an example, suppose a friend tells you that he is standing a 27-minute walk from where you are. So you walk in his direction for 27 minutes. But when you get there, you find that he's not there because he himself was walking further along slowly. And so you have to walk 2 or 3 more minutes to reach him. So this is that kind of situation where although the moon does one orbit of the earth in just over 27 days, but to us it looks like between 29 and 30 days. But leaving that point of detail aside, there are also planets in the solar system which, like the earth, are going around the sun. And many planets have their own moons which go around them. And apart from all this, in the last 60 years, human beings have developed rockets which can place satellites around in orbit around the earth and even around the moon and around other planets, artificial man-made satellites. Once a satellite is placed in orbit and its engines have given it the required speed, it no longer needs an engine to keep it going round. It goes round by itself. This is just like there is nothing which is pushing the earth to make it go around the sun, and there is nothing pushing the moon to make it continue to go around the earth. You can say that a balance and a harmony has been achieved between the two bodies. The earth is moving at a speed, certain speed, in a direction at right angles to the sun, like it's trying to pass the sun on one side. But the sun is pulling the earth back towards itself. And the net result is that the earth just goes round and round the sun. Neither can the earth get away from the sun and move freely away from it, nor can the sun pull the earth right into itself. And it seems that our circuits of the Kaaba represent the same sort of harmony. The pilgrim walks with the Kaaba to his left or her left. And the pilgrims walking forward represents what we do in this world for our physical existence and welfare. But Allah pulls us back from being completely free to carry on our worldly works, so that our walk is not in one direction, but is all the time inclined towards Allah. Of course, Allah only pulls us back if we accept to be pulled towards Him. The bodies in space have no choice. The earth has no choice but to let the sun pull it towards itself, and as a result, its motion bends to make it go round the sun forever. The moon has no choice but to let the earth pull it towards itself. As a result, the moon's motion bends to make it go round the earth forever. We humans, on the other hand, do have the choice whether or not to accept the pull coming from Allah, and therefore bend our motion towards Him while we conduct our worldly lives and do our worldly work. We're told in the Holy Quran, in one verse, that to Allah submits whoever is in the heavens and the earth, willingly or unwillingly. This is chapter 3, verse 83. And in another place, it says, and whoever is in the heavens and the earth make submission to Allah only. The word for make submission there is perform sajda to Allah only, willingly or unwillingly. And this is chapter 13, verse 15. So things in nature like the sun, the earth and the moon follow the laws of Allah with no choice, and there is no involvement of their will. Human beings ought to do the same, but it is left to their choice and to their will. Allah does not live in the Kaaba, and we cannot get near him by going near to the Kaaba. The Holy Quran relates the incident that when Musa alayhi salam, went to communicate with God on a mountain, Musa alayhi salam asked Allah, "My Lord, show me yourself. Show yourself to me so that I may look at you." This is chapter 7, verse 143. And Allah told him, "You cannot see me." And then Allah said to Musa, "Look at the mountain. I will project myself on it." Or you can say, "I will display my glory on it. And if the mountain remains in its place, then you will have seen me." But the verse then goes on to say that when Allah projected his glory on the mountain crumbled and Hazrat Musa fainted. He fainted. So it is not only that we are unable to see God, but even if God projected himself on a powerful physical object, projected himself so as to make that object reflect and display the light of God, even if that happened, that object would crumble. God is not physically present inside the Kaaba, nor can we see a projection of him on its walls like a film. The pilgrim is going around the Kaaba to express that the direction of his worldly behavior will always be inclining towards the teachings revealed by the Lord of the Kaaba. So you go straight, but you're all turning all the time towards the Kaaba. And it's interesting to note that in the orbiting bodies, like the Earth orbiting the Sun, the Moon orbiting the Earth, other satellites orbiting the Earth, if somehow the orbiting object was to be slowed down a lot, it would head straight towards the body that it is going round. For example, if somehow you manage to slow the Earth down considerably, it would head straight towards the Sun and vanish into it. And then the orbiting object would be completely destroyed. And this does sometimes actually happen with man-made satellites going around the Earth, which fall back to the Earth, having slowed down. So likewise, if somehow a person could reach Allah physically in the Kaaba, he would be destroyed by the experience, just like Moses. Just like Moses fainted, even by Allah projecting himself on a mountain. So if Allah was there physically in the Kaaba and a person reached him, that person would be destroyed by the experience. And the walk of the pilgrim around the Kaaba expresses that we want to live a normal life in this world, but a life in which we constantly turn to Allah all the time. Then there is the going between the Safa and the Marwah, known as Sa'i, but also called Tawaf in the Quran and Hadith. Now when you do that, going up and down, it appears to be different from a circular movement, because we go straight in one direction from Safa to Marwah, Then we turn around completely and go back from Marwa to Safa. Now, in the subject known as applied mathematics, it is also called mechanics, there are two basic types of motion which are studied. And one is circular motion, something going around in a circle like the Tawaf of the Kaaba. And the other one is called oscillatory motion. Oscillatory motion is where, like a pendulum, something swings or bounces between 2 points. You go from one end to the other in a line, stop, and come back to the starting point, stop and go back, like being on a child's swing. And the walking between Safa and Marwa might express that we should always remain between the limits defined by Allah. We go up to one limit, but don't exceed it. Come back to the other limit. Don't exceed it. And this could apply to our activities such as working and relaxing, for example. You don't keep on working and working and working. You go up to one limit, then come back to relax and rest. But then you don't overdo that either. So you are bouncing or oscillating between the two. And Hazrat Ibrahim's wife Hajra knew that she had to remain within those limits while searching for water for her and her baby. Another interpretation of walking between the Safa and the Marwa can be that it represents a desire and a longing by us to search for knowledge and truth in order to quench our intellectual and spiritual thirst and to feed our next generation with the same life-giving water. Hajra was anxiously running up to one hill, then standing on it, looking all round from it to see if she could spot anything in the distance as far as she could see, which would help her find water for her and her baby Ismail. Then failing, she would run across to the other hill and look all around from there for the same thing. And we can learn the lesson from this, that we should run to look for sources of knowledge as far as we can see, so that we may drink of that knowledge and give it to our next generation to drink, without that water of knowledge, we would all die intellectually and spiritually. So we have to behave like Hazrat Hajra did, constantly, to find spiritual refreshment and new knowledge. So may Allah enable us to learn these and other permanent lessons. I'm sure there are other interpretations that can be given and other valuable lessons we can learn to apply them in our lives. Ameen. Barakallahu lana wa lakum fil Quranil Azim wa nafa'na wa iyyakum bil ayati wa zikril hakim. Innahu ta'ala jawadun karimun balikun barurufur rahim.